Today on the SN95 Owner's Guide, we have the Sixer, and we're going to show you how to install subframe connectors on your own SN95. Hello and welcome. I'm Darren, and with me is Shawn, and again we have the Sixer, the V6 Mustang, in the shop because when we did the seat install very recently, we discovered there was a crack in the floor and it's broken. So rather than trying to patch up sheet metal and do things the proper way, because this thing is an absolute rust bucket underneath, we decided to take the high performance shortcut of installing subframe connectors.
With seat brackets.
Yes, with seat brackets to help support the seat that is sagging and essentially shore up the crack in the floor without actually addressing the problem. It's not the right way to do it, but it's the best way to do it given the situation.
It's actually as strong as it'd be if you did it the proper way. Arguably stronger, so it's the right way.
It's the right way, and it'll definitely help support the car as Shawn wants to autocross and track it and not twist it up into a pretzel.
Especially where it's a rusty piece of poo.
And where it's very rusty, it's really bad. But we've got a really good show in store for you, great step-by-step, and not too much time spent staring at welding flash. We really did our best to edit that out. So let's get to it. Okay, so we are here with Shawn and the Sixer, and as we alluded to in the intro, we've got a set of subframe connectors. Now, Shawn, tell us what we got, and most importantly, why do we have subframe connectors for a V6 Mustang?
Well, they're Steeda Subframe Connectors with the extra seat reinforcement, which we'll get to why that car needs. But mostly we have subframe connectors for a V6 car because from what we've found in prior blowing up Mustangs, that if you plan on putting one of these things hard through corners in any form or fashion, it's not if, it's when you twist the body like a pretzel. I ripped a set of 3/4 inch or 3/4 length subframe connectors from Competition Engineering clean out of the floor. So these are full length ones, tie everything together. They should stay in.
Right, and we are going with a weld-in design because bolt-ins are just going to destroy everything. They're
That's a
no
waste
good.
of time. Never do bolt-ins.
Never ever do bolt-ins. If you can't do weld-ins, do nothing. You're better off than drilling holes in your subframe to rip out a set of bolt-ins.
The only way a bolt-in is okay is put it in, bolt it all in, then go back over it and weld it.
Yeah,
Turn bolt-ins into weld-ins.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't have a welder or access, you could bolt a set in and then drive over to your friend's house or a shop, have them welded up. But please don't race them on a set of bolt-ins.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad go.
That's actually a good one. You can bolt them in, set it all up, go to a welding shop and pay them just to weld it up. Then
Perfect.
you don't pay extra installation. That'd be the only way a bolt-in's good.
So let's shred this open and take a look at the new stuff. These were sourced from Summit Racing. For no particular reason other than they had good shipping, quick turnarounds, but there's no sponsor or anything like that. Get them wherever's cheapest for you guys.
Yep.
Because we did check stock in Canada, there were none.
No. And the biggest thing is we could have got other ones that didn't have the reinforcements, but we need the reinforcements for this car. The seat is falling through the floor right now currently.
Sure, in one of the previous videos we replaced the seat because it had gangster lean. That fixed half of the problem. The other half of the problem is the floor is cracked in this particular car. So rather than patching up sheet metal to do it again, we're just going to install subframes with seat bracket reinforcements and do the same thing the same way.
I'm pretty sure the gangster lean caused the hole in the floor, the crack in the floor.
Oh yeah, certainly.
What I'm sure has happened is once the seat broke, that put all the pressure on the left mount because the right side was moving. And when you load up one spot and drive on it a bit, over time, it just fails.
All right, so once we get these things out of the wrap, we'll take a closer look at them. Okay, so we've got everything unboxed. You know, nothing really fancy there. It's just some structural steel. One of the things to note is that these are a little bit less important in the SN95 cars than Fox's. One of the things Ford advertises in the literature of the SN95 is it's 40% stiffer chassis. We see a lot less twisting and bending out of SN95s, but they're certainly not immune to it, and as they age, this one had a rough life and has some rust underneath. Twisting can and will occur. So these are still a good upgrade regardless of whether you get a Fox, an SN95, early or late. If you're going to beat on it, really consider a set of subframes. So Shawn, walk us through what we got here in the Steeda package.
Well, we got two big chunk lengths of pipe.
Yes?
One for the left, one for the right. Got locating tabs, so you literally put it up in place, jack her tight, burn it in. But an interesting thing to note is at the bends where they bent it to clear the floor, they actually did fish plates over it to strengthen every bend. So these are actually a very, very well done piece.
Sure.
These are the floor mounts. They go on like so. Oh, sorry. Like so because of the angle.
Yeah.
And you put these in place, bolt them in first, then put your subframe connector in, put it hard against, weld her up.
Right, and we should note that you can build subframes yourself. There's lots of plans out there. I've got some older Mustang modifying books that have plans, but for your time and investment, I think these are less than $200. I don't think our time is worth so little that we could afford to build these in our spare time. It's just easier to buy them, and look, everything's all pre-made and should fit way better than us spending all day with a chop saw.
One thing to note, that if you ever do decide to build your own subframe connectors, 2-inch by 1.5-inch pipe. If you cut a trough in the floor where your actual subframe is, they do fit right in, flush, and run right out to your torque box.
And that's what you did to fix up your Fox car. I think I've got some photos of that somewhere in the pile. I'll roll those in if I can find them.
She's in a half state of rebuild, and that was in 2009, and we never seen the car again.
Yeah, so it's been almost 10 years. We'll have to see if we can dig that car up for another project. But, you know, getting back to the Sixer here today, these are going to be really easy to describe, but there is going to be some fabricating work for sure. Just basic weld in and fitment.
These are the plates that go over the torque box. They literally go up in place, you weld them, and then this welds to that. And that's about as simple as that gets.
All right, so the other thing we should mention is we luckily have a drive-on hoist here, courtesy of Integra Tire, which is Shawn's shop here. And if, of course, you're local to the Fort Saskatchewan or Edmonton area, please drop by and say hello to Shawn. See if he can hook you up with a set of tires. But the business here has been supporting Grand Touring Concepts and in the way of having a hoist, because having a drive-on hoist makes this the best possible way to install subframes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, jack stands, that kind of sucks.
And with jack stands, you actually have to be careful, because if you put the jack stands wrong, you can actually cause some twisting in the chassis, then weld your subframe connectors in, and cause the chassis to be locked out of true.
Absolutely, and we do actually have access to the alignment rack, which you see there blinking in the background, but I don't know if we want to check the alignment on this particular car.
No, this thing needs wheel bearings, ball joints, inner and outer tie rods.
Right, so that'll come much later, but for now, let's just assume the car is as square as we want to bother making it, and we're just going to stick it into place the way it is with the subframes we got.
Yep.
All right, well, now we got to put this thing in the air, and we got to start cleaning things up and doing our test fits. Okay, so with the Sixer up in the air, it should be readily apparent why we need to do this. If you haven't seen any of the previous videos, such as everything wrong with the $100 Mustang, as it was formerly known, the underside is extremely rough.
Yes, this thing is actually a pile of garbage.
Yeah, this thing should really be in the junkyard, but, you know, it was cheap, and we're playing with it.
That's right. Like, as an example...
Yeah, so the front subframe, where it actually already ties in, the connectors we're going to install, have to marry into this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's actually almost rotted the whole way through. Actually, it is rotted the whole way through right here. But that's okay. The subframe connector is going to give it, as long as we can find enough metal to weld to, it'll give it kind of a new life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty bad. Let's take a look at our seat crack, actually, the reason why we're doing this. Yeah, let's see if we can get up in there. Yeah, that crack is the reason why we're actually doing this entire process, is just to salvage this because the floor has so much flex in it.
Well, as an example, if you come to the front, Darren.
Yep.
Come to the front, shine to the back, look at this side. How flat across that is.
Yep.
Look at this side.
Yeah, we've definitely got some bowing.
This floor area is drooped. And as soon as the crack happened there in that contour, all the strength went out.
Yes.
Because all the strength is in the corners.
Right, and then back here in the torque box region, things aren't very good either.
No, it's got a bit of rot, a bit of soft.
Yeah.
As long as we can find enough to weld metal to. Basically, this will take a car that's destined for the junkyard, and these subframe connectors will give it another couple years of life.
Yeah, or at least until we tear it apart, you know, run around road courses and stuff. But hey, that's the nature of a project car.
Man, if a V6 car breaks on a road course, that's the most glorious end for a V6 car.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's not something they were ever really meant to do.
No, exactly. So this is the reason why we're doing this on this particular car. 1, it's a project. 2, to keep it alive. And 3, because it's absolutely necessary for structure.
Yes.
Okay, so Shawn has got the rear plate installed as best as we can do. You're not real pleased about the substructure there.
No, not at all. There's actually in this area when welding it in, good metal, no metal, good metal. There's nothing else to tie into along here or here, but we got it burned in up here, we got it burned in the front, a bit across here. It's not 100%, but it is 100% better than it was.
Right, and the key with this car is to give it a second lease on life. This is not something you would do for a good car. If your substructure looks like this, seek professional help, fix it properly. Don't just Band-Aid over it.
No, this is by no means a professional repair.
Right, but for our purposes, it's way better than what we have.
Yeah, it's not just good, it's good enough.
Right. So, take us where we're going next.
Well, next we're getting ready to put this in place. I have cleaned up any of the points where I'm going to do some welding. One plate's going to be here. This one here, well, we should be able to tie into here a little bit. Because up there, well, we're holes and it's garbage. We're going to burn it in along here a little bit. It'll tie it together better. Again, it'll be light years better than factory.
Right. So
this welded in like this will still be stronger than a factory floor that's not rusted.
That's right. And you can see it is Swiss cheese through that hole. It's incredibly bad. And again, if it looks like that on your car, get someone to fix this properly, or consider, more easily, get a different car.
Yeah, you probably live on the East Coast.
Yeah.
This thing's seen a very different set of circumstances.
Sure, because if you live in the Rust Belt, this is probably somewhat common, especially with a 94 or 95 old cars, something that's been driven in the winter.
This is actually incredibly uncommon for where we live.
Yeah, Alberta is a very generally dry and kind of arid, almost in Arizona, but not quite that dry. And for us to see this sort of damage is very unusual.
This car has lived its entire life on dirt roads. We cleaned about 4 pounds of mud out of this subframe rail.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely buff it off, clean it up. And is what Shawn has done is he's got a transmission jack there, and he's going to use that to actually apply pressure so we can set this thing tightly into place and then start doing tack welds, and we can make sure everything is tied in as tight as possible to give really good welds.
Yep.
Yeah, so from there it's just a matter of installing.
We're up against there.
Yeah, looks pretty good. Again, this is the benefit of having a hoist. If you're trying to do this in your driveway, boys, you're in for a rough time. It's not impossible, it's just not...
It just sucks.
It just sucks. We've done lots of driveway and parking lot work in our time, but having a hoist is the way to do it.
Yep. Now we're putting most of the body weight on this subframe rail. She's actually almost lifting off the jack in the front, but that's good. That means it's held up against there as hard as it can be. So when we weld this thing in, that's it. She'll be set.
Yeah, this is definitely going to tighten this vehicle up quite a bit. This is some really nice substructure.
It's already lifted the seat up a bunch too.
Oh, good. Which was the original thing we were hoping to repair, was that crack in the floor. And
that actually was the whole reason, for a big part of the reason for these particular subframe connectors.
Yes, because they have that seat cross brace. Not all brands come with those, so make sure you research before you purchase.
Because we already have a set of subframe connectors in your garage that fit this car.
Yeah, we do. We've had them for quite a while. They've been kind of passed around the projects, and no one's ever gotten around to installing them in anything, but they're more of a tubular pattern, really nice design, but they don't have a seat support.
We needed a seat support in this particular car.
Certainly.
And this is actually quite a common break in these cars.
Absolutely. Sure is.
More so in the Foxes because they have a thinner floor.
That's right. So from here, Shawn's just basically going to start applying weld and burning this in, and we will jump back to take a look at his finished work and show you how it went. Okay, so Shawn is all done. Couple hours of welding, a little bit of fitting. Swearing, there was some swearing, but really...
We searched Kijiji.
We did. Shawn actually was really upset with this torque box back here and just how bad it was, and we did do a timeout to look for better cars on Kijiji. There's currently nothing there. For those of you in the United States, that's Canada's Craigslist. But not finding anything, we resumed the project in earnest.
Yeah, we even went to $2,000.
Yeah, $2,000, still nothing any better. So Shawn was able to fit in the subframes to very, very good success. The seat is now squared away where it needs to be. They are definitely well supported, and the vehicle is definitely much stiffer.
Some of the welds are not the greatest.
True.
But there's two reasons for that. It's not that I'm a shit welder, I'm actually not bad.
Yeah.
It is rust.
Yes.
Trying to get the rust out so that we can weld without getting spatter from rust. We even used the sandblaster and couldn't get it all.
Yeah, there's a lot of rust here. In some places, you're essentially tying into rusty tin foil.
The other problem, literally, is the welder.
Yeah.
Not this welder, that welder.
Yeah, the physical device.
Yeah, she's old, she's tired. The duty cycle is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get 4 inches of good weld, then she starts to draw a bunch more, and it starts to really struggle and have troubles. You have to let it cool down, it pops breakers. So we were literally at the top off and we're spraying it with air trying to cool it.
Yeah.
But you make do with what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Shawn, what do you think of the Steeda subframe connectors? Recommend, not recommend?
Oh, the subframe connectors themselves are awesome. They fit great, they sit in place, they have good brackets. They actually fit better than the competition engineerings I put in my 88 way back when.
Yeah, so that's a good takeaway. It would definitely be the choice that we would recommend. If you're considering a subframe connector brand and you don't know which one to choose, these Steedas are definitely very good.
And get them with the seat braces. Even if you don't have a broken seat or any issues, it does reinforce and strengthen the seats. It's always a good thing when you can strengthen more things up.
Certainly. All right, so that was a really successful mod, I think. Shawn?
Yeah, sure.
Shawn's happy with it. Not so happy with what we found while we were doing the install, but...
Happy with the subframe connectors, not happy with the car. There's a difference.
Yeah, that's right. So I think we'll be keeping a really sharp eye on the chassis of this vehicle as we exercise it because, boy, I bet you there's going to be some more cracks.
The suspension and our comps, and this is going to be interesting to see the durability.
Yeah, we're definitely going to put this thing to its absolute limit, and if we wreck it, that may be the case.
Yeah.
So until next time, thanks very much for watching. We're glad to have you along. And please, if you have any questions or comments, post them down below in the comments section. And until next time, see you later.